Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and today, like I do on most Saturdays, we're going to do a vlog of Mikey's training. And as you guys see at the start, you see everything in his spreadsheet for his block, gives you an idea of how I program him. And you guys have been watching him make progress in real time for months, is already an advanced drug-free lifter with over a decade of lifting experience. And we keep making progress. Now up front this week, we tested his axle bar bench press. And you guys will see we're repeating certain lifts now, right? We're coming through. We've been doing these vlogs long enough that you guys see how the conjugate lifts work. Because if you go back and look at the previous ones, we've maxed on that lift before. And he got 345 just now, which is a 5-pound PR. A lot of people will say, well, we're hitting only 5-pound PRs like once every 8 or 9 weeks. How is that good? Well, for an advanced lifter, that's insane. Right? That's how we've taken him from a 295 bench to like a 345 bench in less than a year. Those little 5-pound PRs start adding up, and that's the idea. And then afterwards, we finished up with some pause benching and then floor presses. Why these lifts? Because his chest needs more work. Right? His chest needs more work. It is a limiting factor in his bench at the moment. Even though we don't care as much about the bench, the deadlift is our highest priority right now. Right? We're deadlift specializing, but it doesn't mean we don't train the bench and the muscles of the bench. It just means we put less of our total accessory volume and recovery towards the bench press, but we still do accessories for it. All right, obviously. I've had other people ask, hey Jason, why don't you have more of your clients do this? Well, there's a lot of reasons. Number one, I have clients who don't want their videos up, due to trolls and other nonsense, right? Particularly clients who have kids and things. They don't want their videos put up at all. I don't even share them on my private Facebook. My private Facebook, that's mostly coaches, lifters, clients, friends of mine, they get to see a lot more. And there's plenty of people who can chime in, plenty of my clients, other people who say, yeah, that's true. There's a lot of clients you get to see there. A lot of them don't want it. Number two, as funny as it sounds, most of my clients don't send me all of their lifts. Now, some of them send me too much stuff, and I have to talk to them about it like, hey, I've been coaching you for 5 months, 6 months. I don't need to see all 12 sets of your speed squats every week, right? It actually makes it really hard to find the stuff I need to find if you send me too much. Ironically, some of the clients who do that are the ones who don't want their stuff shared. But it's the issue of a lot of my guys who you guys would love to see don't send me enough video footage. They're busy. They don't have time for it, right? Because generally speaking, people who can afford coaching are not always people who have a lot of extra time to do other stuff. Some of them have limited time available to do things. They're busy people for the most part. Another reason I don't try to go through this trouble, people saying, why don't you interview your clients? Well, it's not necessary. Not necessary. I'm at a point now to where I don't need to advertise the coaching business that much anyways. If you guys notice, I haven't opened any slots to the public in months and months because I get enough applications to stay full all the time. I don't have to open slots. So it doesn't really help me to do that. And a lot of my people, they don't want to deal with the nonsense that would come from them being on camera, them dealing with all of that, because it is real. The other thing there is, of course, that some of them are just not impressive enough either. So it's the combination I'm looking for would be clients who film enough stuff to send to me, clients who want their stuff to be seen publicly, and number three, clients who, are impressive enough in either their size or their strength that it's really worth displaying, because I don't want to necessarily put some of my novices up here. You guys don't want to see my 6-foot guys who weigh 150 who were trying to desperately get to a 200-pound bench press. All right, that's not going to be entertaining for people either. Right? It's really not. And I don't want to put up my Freud freaks. Right? I don't want to put a guy up here who's on a grandma test. But back over to Mike's training. It's pretty standard. There's no real changes on the upper body supplemental lifts over the last couple weeks now, right? Now you guys can see it's pretty consistent. We're doing pause benching, we're doing floor pressing, we do pull-ups, we do pendlay rows, snatch grip high pulls. Pretty straightforward. Right, it's all pretty straightforward. And again, working his chest, working triceps, but then everything else is geared towards back. And we already know why we do these lifts. We've discussed it in previous vlogs. A lot of his back training now is geared towards improving his deadlift. right? Pull-ups, pin leg rows, those will build that. Here he got a box squat PR. We got 430 on a box. 430 on a box, on a parallel box. And again, people who are used to no box squatting can extrapolate that over and estimate what they think he can back squat. You know, and for guys like Mike, I'm going to predict a 430 box squat for him is around a 450 to a 455 squat. And I've had some guys hit some big squats this week and PRs. But I don't really want to show all those. But yeah, I mean, for example, the guy who did the heavy exercers this week, Big J, you guys remember from the collage, he got a 475 squat. My one really strong pound for pound guy, the guy who you guys have seen do 500 pound good mornings weighing like 170, he just hit a 500 squat this week. So those guys are hitting big numbers. Mike's are pretty good. He's getting up there. It's going to take us a while to get him to a 500 squat though, right? It's going to take a little time. He'll get there. But 430 on a box, not bad at all. Not bad. We're doing pretty good. And again, all of this will carry over to his deadlift because we're deadlift specializing. Our goal for Mike is to get to a 500 deadlift as soon as possible. And accordingly, we're gearing all his training towards it. So what are we doing for supplemental work here? We're doing safety, squat bar, good mornings. In my opinion, this is my opinion, this good morning variation carries over to the conventional deadlift the best. All right, it carries over the best. You know, we are keeping some supplemental quad work and stuff in, of course, so I'm continuing to have him do the belt squats. He's got a belt squat belt. He likes doing them. I see no reason to take them out. A lot of my lifters, we do isolateral leg work, right? If that's what they need. Because I don't want to throw lots of squatting volume at a lot of my lifters. I've experimented with that, and I've observed what happens when I have lifters do volume squatting versus if we just do isolateral work. If they're doing things like box squats for speed work and everything, we don't really need a lot of extra squatting. It's better to just work on their quads with easier movements. Now, anyone who's observing this, you guys already know I'm going to talk to Mike about these belt squats. This is not good belt squatting this week. He's pushing the progression too hard. He's pushing the progression too hard. And he's missing depth on all those. Probably a bit too much forward lean at this point. Right? Too much forward lean at this point. He was doing a lot better a couple weeks ago, but now he's kind of pushed these to where he needs to back it back off a hair. Because again, he's been pushing and pushing and adding weight. And you know, as we get past 200 pounds on these, things can get interesting. And we'll see stuff like we just saw there. But without video footage, we don't know that we're doing that. You know, a lot of times, this is one of the reasons I tell people you have to video your lifts. If you really care about improving, video your lifts. Why? Because you don't feel yourself doing that. If you're doing a belt squat, you don't notice that you're leaning all the way forward and that your back is now taking all the weight. You don't realize that you're not hitting depth. When you video it, you can see those things. And we have footage of that, and so I'll talk to him about it, and he'll see the vlog too. So it'll be up today, and Mike watches his own vlogs, and he'll see that criticism there, and he'll get back with me on it too. But I'm going to need to say something to him about it, because now we're no longer being productive on that exercise, right? It's now turning into a supplemental lift is now turning into an ego lift. And it only happened again this week. But again, he's been trying to add weight every single week as he goes. And then we finish off with reverse hypers. But as you guys can see from there, as far as supplemental lifts go, what are we doing for his deadlift? Pretty straightforward, right? We have pull-ups, we have pin leg rows, safety squat bar good mornings, reverse hypers, right? Have all those things in there. There might be other stuff that I add over time. But I don't want to take away a recovery issue. So, I mean, it's a certain point where I would say, well, we might not care about the belt squat. I could add more posterior chain work, you know, to, again, specifically address just the deadlifting. But, you know, again, we have to factor into we want to lose that extra quad work. I don't know that we want to do that. It might not be wise at this juncture. I could, though. And I very well might. I'll need to think on it. But then we get over to his speed bench. Standard for him, and he's always pretty good at speed bench, but usually I keep it pretty constant. We run 50% bar weight, 30% band tension of your 1 rep max. So this is again a lot of band tension. So I mean, again, 30% of 345 is our ideal here. And I've had a lot of people say, hey, I've noticed you don't run waves on his speed work. Like you don't change the weight every week. A lot of my lifters, I don't. People say, well, why does Louis Simmons do it? I think Louis Simmons does it for psychological reasons. I don't think there's a physiological reason at all. You're still producing force, producing velocity, compensatory acceleration. I don't think it actually matters to do percentages. I think he does it to keep his lifters in a mindset of, hey, we're progressing week to week. But it's just speed work. It's really about the bar speed relative to the tension. It's about the explosiveness, the rate of force production, right? I don't think there's a physiological benefit to the rotating the 3-week waves that way. I just don't think there is. Now, psychologically, there can be, and I think that's why he does it. But I don't think every lifter necessarily needs all those psychological benefits, right? Just my opinion. I do it for my guys who are raw, though. People on bands, I don't always have my lifters do it with bands. My lifters who do raw, we actually do that. We change percentages every week and see what sort of bar speeds they can maintain. But a lot of my raw lifters, we have to go to really, really low percentages because they're just not, well, quite frankly, they're just not explosive enough, right? They're not explosive enough. But again, his accessories, after the speed bench, we do floor press, and he does reverse band JM presses, right? And the JM press is a favorite for him. Keeps his triceps big. This guy's always had big arms. This only helps. You know, the other thing that people will notice, they'll be like, well, he does have pretty big arms. Why didn't we ever see him do curls? He doesn't need curls. I mean, we could throw some curls in. We could probably spend some time if he cared. Guy has big arms. Guy has big arms. He does them without curls. We don't necessarily need curls for him. Not everyone has to do curls to build their biceps to an acceptable level. I seem to need curls. This guy doesn't. Mike doesn't need curls. And we mainly just focus on his triceps. And again, we do just pretty much JM pressing. Working phases of closed grip pressing, dips, other stuff. In fact, I feel like he's in a phase where I probably want to start doing some more dips coming up. All right, wouldn't be a bad idea. And again, what do we do here following that? Weighted pull-ups. Pen lay rows. Snatch grip high pulls. And then he's up to an insane weight on the snatch grip high pulls. Right? And it keeps his shoulders thick. And it's actually the other day, Christian Thibodeau, who I'm friends with, I actually threw my name up in an article mentioning that he's heard me say, like I've said to him, yeah, I think that honestly, one of the only ways a drug-free lifter is actually going to get yoked, this is probably the best exercise they could do. If they're not doing this lift and you're actually pursuing being yoked and you are a lifetime drug-free, you're actually shortchanging yourself a lot if you're not using this lift. This lift will get you there faster than anything else you could do. Right? And that's the thing. Shoulders. Your shoulder girdle is the hardest thing for someone to build up completely clean. It's really difficult. And anyone who tells you otherwise doesn't understand training or gear, to be honest. They really don't. All right? It's the one area that's hardest. And lifts like that make it a lot easier. Right? They make it a lot easier for you. But on this, some people say, hey, are those out of order? Yeah, I think the file got switched slightly when I was downloading all of it. So I just put it up in the order that it ripped it in. It might have been when he uploaded it to me, they uploaded a different order. And that happens a lot through Messenger and stuff. But again, the lifts are the same. The lifts are the same. Pull up, pin leg row, snatch grip, high pull. Great combination. Then we get over to the speed day, and he was a little worried. He's like, man, I got a box squat PR. That means I've got to raise my weight for the speed work. But he felt, wow, it was still fast anyways, pretty fast. And it's decently fast. Right? That's pretty fast there. Could it be better? Sure, it could be better. But he just hit a PR, so it's actually heavier than he's used to doing. You know, and again, we base the percentages for the bar and the bands both off of your max. So that means if you get a 15-pound PR on your max, well, that means you're going to increase both the band tension and the bar weight for your speed work. And I think this is going to be his last week of speed pulls with the sumo, right? He's been noticing a lot of hip fatigue. You have to pay attention to that, watch for that. So this is going to be the last week of this wave. I'm going to take him over to conventional work. All right, we're going to go over and do conventional again for a while, which is what we need. We're trying to build his conventional up, right? That's the goal. And sumo speed pulls do carry over to it, but I think at the end of his next wave, we do 3 weeks of speed pulls on conventional, and we've been doing all this hypertrophy work for those areas, I think we're going to see a PR. We'll see I think a big deadlift PR. So we'll watch for that in another 3 weeks. And after that, it's pretty straightforward again. Speed works a lot of volume, right? The speed works a lot of volume, so we don't do as much stuff on speed lower days. You guys notice I don't, you'll notice my clients don't. A lot of them don't. So we just do 2 lifts. We do, again, SSB good morning, and he does a reverse hyper, and that's enough. That's more than enough. In fact, what do you guys see me do on my last speed lower day? I did a lot of volume on the speed work. Speed squats, speed pulls, box jumps, and then I did these exact same 2 lifts. So I finished my own training. This looks very similar to my dynamic effort lower days, doesn't it? Yeah, our program is very similar to mine, other than I'm throwing some box jumps in too. Now, we might need to do that. We might need to incorporate some box jumps for him coming up. Might not be a bad idea. Might not be a bad idea. You know, I'll think about it. And a lot of my lifters do jump. And then again, he finishes off with his reverse hypers. And we've been slowly getting stronger on the reverse hypers. We've been increasing weight. We've been increasing reps. We've got him up to the reps I'm wanting him at. And then we've been slowly working weight up. So we're trying to progress on this too. All right? Progression matters. Matters. But overall, good workout. I'm happy with everything I saw today other than those belt squats. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed it. Hopefully you've learned a few things. So I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.